There's a growing question about what is the future of Helium token. Where is it going? Can it do 100x, 1000x? So I'll be touching on those research that I did and share it with you in just a second. But to begin with, my name is Eddie and this is not a financial advice. This video is just for educational purposes. Begin with, there are so many variables that can impact the price: the performance, the utilization, the interest from investors, the security, the stability, the scalability. And if we look at Helium today, it has proven the concept, it has proven the scalability, and the interest we have seen in the past few months, such as the Ribbit Capital, 10T Holdings, Alameda Research, and Multicoin Capital invested over $111 million into the Helium network to help scale 5G nationwide. We've also seen on Twitter, Mark Cuban is following the Helium network, which shows that he's interested into investing in the Helium network. So those are really good indicators that can boost the network because it's exposure, it's everything. And the trilemma of the blockchain, which is scalability, security, and decentralization, Helium is doing very, very well. So, but what is the main driver for the increase of the HNT token? Well, we know the tokenomics of Helium. So a quick review on the tokenomics. We know that we will be able to mine 223 million HNT tokens in the next 50 years. That being said, we know also that the halving happens every 2 years, and we just passed the first halving a month and a half ago. And here's the percentages that we have. Now, let's talk about the tokenomics a little bit better here. So the Helium protocol was originally designed with a burn and mint equilibrium model, which does not feature a hard supply cap. The community has suggested that the issue be revisited and reevaluated in order to make Helium more understandable to a wider group of participants. To ensure the network continues to function properly, the Helium protocol incentivizes hotspot operators with HNT mining reward. If there is no HNT left to be mined, hotspot owners have no incentive to operate their hotspot. Currently, the Helium protocol mints 5 million HNT, which is 2.5 now, in perpetuity in order to adequately incentivize its hotspot owners for providing wireless coverage and transmitting IoT data. So the stakeholders, all HNT hotspot owners, and it will be affected by this HIP. There will be no change to the cost transfer data. So what they're saying, the burn and mint equilibrium, that means, as we already know, that Senet has already signed up a partnership with Helium, which will deploy billions of IoTs using Helium. For IoTs to use the Helium network, the only way is to buy HNT token and convert it to data credits. That means burning the HNT. We call them burn. So once it's burned forever. It's out of the circulating supply. And if we stay like this, there will be no more HNT to provide to these IoTs, and therefore HNT will go 10 million x, 100 million x, because there will be nothing to mine. We're going to wait for people to mine, and whether they're going to sell or not, if they have the circulating supply, if they're staking it, so it can boom. And that's why they introduced the HIP-20. The HIP-20, it balances the whole thing. And another issue that you guys need to understand, that Helium needs to scale this network. So we're about 200,000 today hotspots, and we're expecting anywhere from 350 to 400 by the end of this year, 2021. So 2022, we're expecting 2 million, or actually 1 million hotspots to be deployed into the network, and that should be enough to cover globally, kind of thing, at least for 2022. Now, as a miner, you and me, if we're going to make, because now if we have 1.5 million, let's say, and we have only 1.5 million to mine every day, every month, that means we're expecting to get 1 HNT a month. Therefore, how can we attract people to mine in 2022 if the price of the Helium token is at $17? That means if I tell you next year, hey, get your hotspot miner for $500, $600, and it's going to take you 30 months to get your ROI back or get your investment back, a lot of people will be hesitant. Not to mention that it could be less than 1 HNT because of so many variables that affect the reward system. Therefore, we have to, because we are in control of the HIP 20, and I'll explain to you how are we in control. Now, we cannot let the the burn and mint equilibrium be as is, because if it stays as is, let me explain. We have 1 billion. Let's say we have 10% of the billions that Senet is promising to deploy on Helium. Let's say 10%. So in this year, if we have 100 million IoTs, which they require, let's say, I think it's the minimum is half a dollar each month to be activated. So they need $6 in a year. So they need $600 million. If we divide that by 17, or let's say $20, they're gonna need, just for this company, just for this project, they're gonna need to burn 30 million HNT. And all we have right now is around 100 million HNT. I think 25% is being staked, and the rest will be in exchanges and on wallets and stuff like that. So if one company with 10% is gonna burn more than the 30% of what we have, that means the price of HNT will go parabolic in seconds or days or whatever. So there is the community who introduced the HIP, because the HIP addressed the issue with the burn and mint. It does not make sense because Helium will go parabolic. However, at the same time, we need to address that the price of HNT stays in a good price. That means we needed to go more than $17 and go to a point where if you mine half HNT a month or 1 HNT, it still pays off in relatively 6 months to 1 year. Ideally less, but that's the average. So let's talk about the HIP 20 and understand what they want to do with that. As the system gets older, it runs into a problem. By the year 2064, the protocol gets down to only 1 HNT being minted per month. This would start to break the system because HNT is not divisible enough to be used as an effective medium of exchange at that point. As the system starts running out of HNT, rewards miners would start to lose the incentive to transmit data. Consensus rules can also start to break down if there are no sufficient mining rewards, and the protocol cannot rely on transaction fees alone to secure consensus. In essence, the Helium protocol requires perpetual HNT mining to ensure a healthy and robust network. So they introduced something called the net emissions. The net emission is the solution to this problem. It allows the Helium protocol to have both a hard cap on the number of HNT that can exist, and two, perpetual HNT mining to ensure the network functions properly. And let's explore how it works. Net emissions. At the current, which is 2.5 million month issuance, there's a fixed 3,424 HNT minted per epoch. With net emissions, the system would target a net HNT mined per epoch, up to a cap. The key difference is targeting fixed number of HNT minted per epoch versus targeting a net number of HNT minted per epoch. In its simplest implementation, this would mean that the system monitors how many HNT were burnt for data credits that epoch and adds them to the number of HNT to be minted that epoch. So in this simple implementation, if 10 HNT were burnt for data credits in an epoch, the system would mint 3,434 HNT instead of 3,424. Net emissions give the protocol enough HNT to reward consensus groups and reward data transmitters in perpetuity. Net emissions make sure the Helium protocol never runs out of HNT. These net emissions do not add to the amount of HNT outstanding and therefore do not violate the maximum supply. Net emissions also do not have any impact on data credits. There's no downside to uncapped net emissions. Uncapped net emissions do not allow for the net burning of HNT and therefore eliminate deflationary pressure. However, if we're going to always mint the same amount of HNTs, that means it's not a deflationary. So they have been addressing this, and I'll show you right now. To allow the burnt-mint equilibrium and net emissions to work in harmony, the proposal introduces a cap to net emissions of 34.24 HNT per epoch, 1% of current issuance. So therefore, instead of the 3,424, they will allow 1%. And this is implemented by capping out how much the net pool can be increased per epoch. This means if greater than 34 are burnt in a given epoch, the BME system can kick in again to deflate HNT supply and decrease its price back to equilibrium. This rate will be set by via a chain variable expressing the limit in bones and will not be affected by halving events. If the rate is found to be too high or too low, it can be adjusted later via standard governance mechanisms. Under this HEP, the cap on the net emissions would be made on HNT burns are spiky, and users of the Helium protocol often burn a large amount of HNT at once to build up a balance of data credits to use over time. To smooth out net emissions, the proposal also creates net emissions pools, which is increased by the amount of HNT. Now, the drawbacks. Reduced HNT issuance might reduce further network growth if the HNT price does not increase by commensurate amount to incentivize new miners. That's what we talked about. The net emission pool design may not adequately smooth rewards. It is impossible to forecast this until we have more real-world data on HNT burning patterns, at which time the chain variables controlling the net emissions pool can be adjusted. Rational and alternative. The simplest alternative is to leave the system unchanged. The current system with a fixed 5 million HNT minted per month is simple and also comes to an equilibrium as described in burn-mint economics. However, this equilibrium might be at an HNT price too low to incentivize people to buy hotspot to join the network, thus slowing or halting network growth. You can see from the HEP, Helium needs to scale. Now, of course, we need the utilization, but it needs to scale. And if I'm not going to reward the new hotspot and the existing hotspot owners with enough rewards that keeps them running their hotspot, no people will come. And that's the main thing here. And you can see that they're issuing, that means if I burn a greater number on the epoch, I can produce only 1%, which is the 34. So if I'm burning 100 or burning 1,000, I can only produce that much or mint that much. Therefore, I'm going to still have that deflationary, but it's not going to be of that impact. Obviously, there will be an impact on the price of HNT, but we need still HNT to be available to use. So, but you can see from the language, I cannot think about IoTs until I scale. And for me to scale, I have to ensure that my hotspot owners get rewarded to stay in this network. That's how it is. And therefore, people that are saying, I'm quitting, I'm dropping. No, don't quit and don't drop. Oh, I'm getting only 1 HNT. I'm mining 1 HNT a month. Well, it's going to get better. So we know that we need to get another 1 million hotspots next year. Therefore, we need to reward them, as simple as that. And now, with this HEP 20, what they're saying here, we're not going to burn every single HNT. We're going to mint some so we can have that deflationary going on, but at a rate we can control. So they're saying 1%, they might increase it to 5 or 10%. If they go to 10% and now it's just going, it's more than what we are mining, that doesn't make sense. So the basic thing, which is the most important thing, that we own this network and we want to be rewarded effectively and responsibly as well. So we're not going to go crazy on the price of growing this network and making it work. And also, we don't want it to not make us any rewards because we're doing some work here. So therefore, just if this Senate burns 30 or 50 million, HNT can go, I don't know, 100x, 1000x. I have no clue. And the people, they say, oh, well, if the price of HNT becomes so expensive, then the IoTs will not be affordable because of the data credits. No, this is totally different. The data credits are also always pegged to the US dollar. So 100,000 data credits will cost always $1. That's it. So it doesn't matter what is the price of HNT. Therefore, I can tell you that besides all the investors in FreedomFi, in Mark Cuban, and others that are coming in, this network is in great hands. And that's what you're supposed to, that's what you need to know. And we have the ability to adjust the numbers that will be minted according to the data that we will get in the future. So now they're saying at 1%. So the minting of 34 is going to be we're going to make the price of HNT increase severely. Now, excluding what's happening with the crypto market, if it's on its own, and I think, like I said in one of my videos, Helium will be decoupling from the crypto market, and that's another advantage to Helium. Why is it going to decouple from crypto? First of all, because of Senet is coming. So once our network becomes used by IoTs and others like FreedomFi, if it's being used, there is nothing that will impact except the performance of the other network. That's it. Why? First of all, we don't have any DeFi projects. So we know governments now are after DeFi projects and they want to regulate that, and they're gonna hammer it. So once they do that, well, we don't have DeFi. So that's one thing. Second of all, governments, big companies like Google, Amazon, Samsung, whatever, Motorola, they need this network. Humans will, regarding private sector, public sector, they're all gonna need IoTs, and we're gonna be one of the first ones to provide this network. Therefore, we're not into that game. And once it's used, it will decouple automatically. It's gonna be about numbers. Is your numbers increasing by day? Are you scaling? Are you selling? Are you partnering up? All of these will have a positive impact and will definitely go to decoupling. Therefore, if all of them work, so the FreedomFi works and it's been actually deployed onto the network. If it gets the GSM or mobile companies to join this, we know Alameda and all these guys that joined or participated in the Helium network, they're interested in the 5G. Therefore, if all of them work, including the burn and mint equilibrium, that means it can grow to huge numbers. Now, on its own, with Senet being deploying their IoTs, it depends on the number of IoTs. It depends how many HNTs they're going to burn. This will have direct impact because Senet should be deploying and using this network anywhere this year, this month, this week. There's no announcements yet. But it can definitely make things triple, maybe quadruple by the end of this year. Also, you have to consider that there are many other projects in the Helium ecosystem that are launching and they're ready. So all of these are going to need to buy HNT to burn it and convert it to data credits. And depending on the HIP and the HIP 20 and the epoch percentage that we want to alter, whether adjust to 1%, 5%, and also bear in mind that we need to make the new hotspot owners, they need to make enough rewards for them to stay in this game. So all of these are really healthy indicators. I think we'll be doing X's throughout this year and next year. If all of them work, I'm the most bullish I am at is more companies using the network and therefore burning the HNT, because that's what's going to drive the HNT price to go 10x, 1000x, 100x. But we will be seeing X's coming every month, every quarter, every 3 months. I don't know. So, but I'm very, very bullish about the number. And people always want to see a number. And I would say if we, by end 2022, if we have 1.5 million hotspots and we can only mine 1.5 million, because 2.5 excluding the investors percentage and consensus group, so we might mine around 1.5 million, and we're mining, and we are 1.5 million hotspots. Therefore, in end of 2022, if I'm gonna make one HNT a month, that's being very, very bullish. I mean, I'm sure you can make probably 0.5. So let's say average 0.5 a month. I would need to have 0.5 to make me anywhere from $70 to $100. So at the end of 2022, helium should be anywhere from $160 to $200. That's a realistic number, because when I showed you the HIP, all they care about is we need to scale. We need the IoTs right now, but we're not looking for just IoTs. We need to go global. We need to cover Earth. And the only way to do that is to have more hotspots being deployed. Now, if you're not going to make your investment back in 6 months, nobody will be interested. That's a fact. And that's where they're addressing. And the thing is, we own this. So I'm sure we can do this. So in end of 2022, I think if we're mining 0.5 HNT, helium should be around $200. That's a fair call. 2021, maybe anywhere from 50 to 100. But like I said, the more data we get, the more we can see X's along. So we can see 2X, 3X. And once we have the utilization, we're not going to be impacted by the Bitcoin and crypto space. We're going to be solid on our own. And I guys showed you, let me show you again. So we can see here in the Axie and Infinity, we had a big dip in end of May and beginning of June with Bitcoin. See what happened here. This was selling for cents. And then when the dip was happening to all of the crypto market, it just went parabolic to $90 from 0 cents or 10 cents to $90. And there were no dips. If you compare the charts of Bitcoin with this, it was never, has nothing, all these dips that they had has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It was because of the Ethereum gas prices and because of the tokenomics that they have changed. So, and this reminds me to tell you why is this important. See, now Axie Infinity is built on the Ethereum network. So whatever happens to the Ethereum network positively will affect positively on this. Well, not that much, but it will have some impact, especially because of the gas fees that Ethereum has. So it is part, Axie is part of the ecosystem of Ethereum, while Helium is not part of anybody's ecosystem. It is the ecosystem on its own. And therefore, this ecosystem of Helium, if it's proven, then it's going to work out. Also, another thing that you need to consider, if everyone is talking about 2025 will have over 75 billion IoTs in the market. So if Helium gets 50% of that, and that's in 2025, that is 37 billion IoTs. Each IoT will need $0.50 a month to activate on the Helium network. That means, let's say, what, $6 in $6 in 1 year. So $6 multiplied by 30 billion is 180 billion. If they want to buy HNT, there will be HNT price in 2025 will be something crazy. So all of these you have to consider. You need to track the performance of every single element of them, because each element is more important than the other. Because once Helium approves its utilization, it's going to attract people coming from the stock market. They will come and will just invest in HNT and Helium because they see that this is the future and it's working. And it doesn't have DeFi issues. It doesn't have any regulatory issues. And all of these come in hand in hand with the Helium network. So if you guys have more questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I think you are now understanding the beautiful tokenomics and why things will move, because we own this network. We will protect ourselves. That's the nature. We want to still make HNTs. And therefore, I'm very bullish about this project. I will always be bullish. And if you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can join my Telegram group. It'll be in the description below as well. So guys, thanks a lot for all the support and all the subscribers. Thank you. We crossed the 1,000 subscribers. That's all because of you and because of your support and your love. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next video.